morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. We are back from USDGC. Excited to be back. We got one more week of a little bit of chaos, and then we get into our normal routine yet again. It is Tour Championship week here in the old Lynchburg, Virginia, which is exciting stuff. Honestly, I think it's going to be less busy than last week. Could be wrong. As far as what's new on the site this week, be straight with you, don't quite know yet. Little bit of, obviously we were out of the office for several days last week, so we're getting our feet back under us. The warehouse had a holiday yesterday for Columbus Day, I do believe. So we're getting our feet back under us. What I do know is we were able to bring some goodies back from USDGC, from the Discraft tent, per usual. They typically let vendors who are down there kind of shop their selection after the week's over. So we have some awesome fused buzzes, some AB cigaras, fun stuff like that. So I don't know if that's dropping this weekend or if that'll be a week or two. But yeah, a lot of it's just going to be, we have the Tour Championship coming up. So if you're going to be in town for that, we'll have Connor Shamans, Trevor Cash's, the USDGC Hunter Birds. We have our personality jerseys in person. We have those, so that's exciting. So a lot of fun stuff at Tour Championship this weekend. Excuse me. So yeah, that's gonna be the fun stuff. And like I said, over the next few weeks, I don't know exactly when it'll release, but we have a lot of fun stuff from the Discraft tent that'll be hitting the site. So you can get in on the fun there. And then after Tour Championship week this weekend, we will have, after Tour Championship this weekend, we will have the Foundation custom stamped stuff that we took down there. So not the personality stamps, but we have a new Build Your Game stamp. We have several new stamps, like 2 foil stamp stuff. That's going to be hitting the site next Friday. So call it October, what is that going to be, like 24th, 25th, somewhere in there. That's when that'll be hitting the site. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I can also now show you, I have it in hand, the Proto Color Glow Hunter Birds. These are going to be the Black Friday Hunter Birds as well. We collaborated with USDGC to make this plastic happen, because the story behind this plastic is basically when I fell in love with the Thunderbird. Oh, phone call. Let me text my wife and tell her she was coming to the coffee shop and she waited too long. Sorry, honey. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. Please hold. Please hold. Okay. Anyways, so we have the USDGC Hunter Bird. So the story behind this is back in 2014, Innova ran this Color Glow Champ Thunderbird for Paul's World's Win at that time. And I got my hands on one, and that was the disc that made me fall in love with a Thunderbird, was that Color Glow Thunderbird. And so since then, there's been a few runs of them. Hannah Blomroos did one recently, and every Color Glow Thunderbird I've ever thrown, I have absolutely loved. I've loved the plastic of. So we were talking with USDGC, and we kind of pitched the idea of like, hey, if we dropped this disc first down there, what would we need to do to get Color Glow Thunderbirds? And basically they were like, hey, let's just collaborate on it. So that's why even the Black Friday stamp's going to have this USDGC on there. That's not like, oh, these didn't sell well at USDGC. This is, oh, we collaborated with them to make, this is actually Proto Color Glow to make this plastic happen. And these things are awesome. So many, like several different colors. I think I saw pink. This is more of a peachy. This is the one I always liked. Pink, orange, and blue. Bluish green down there. So, and they glow incredible. So these will be available again at Tour Championship this weekend if you're going to be there in person. But then online, they won't be available until Black Friday. So super excited about how these turned out, though. I think they're going to be very popular. Great flyers. So super stoked about that. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about, because I thought this was interesting, was this is our 3rd year vending at USDGC. And so I kind of wanted to give you the scope of how vending has gone over the last 3 years. Because on the ground, this felt like the biggest USDGC we've ever been to in regards to like the amount of people watching it, in regards to the like vending village in general, just how many vendors there were, how many people there were shopping, all of that fun stuff. And so I wanted to see, like, numbers wise, does that back it up? Like, were our numbers actually the biggest USDGC we've ever had? So we've vended at USDGC 3 times. I have been to, I've been to, I believe, 9 USDGCs, because I went to 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. I didn't go to 2020 when Chris Dickerson won. I think that was the only one I've missed since 2015, because 2021 when Paul won, I went, and then 22, 3, 4, and now 5 we've vended at. No, 3, 4, 5 we vended at. 2022 we went to, but we didn't vend. 2022 I think was our first year doing media. 21, 22, somewhere in that range. So anyways, we've been working with USDGC for several years. We've been vending at USDGC for 3 years. So numbers wise, actually our biggest USDGC when I was looking at it ever was the 2020, what is this year? 2023 USDGC. And it beats, I don't have my phone because my phone's right there. I'm gonna try to break out the problem is we vend from different back then we just called our vending at USDGC vending. Now we call it USDGC vending because we vend at different places. We don't just vend at USDGC anymore. So I gotta have this calculator out here, because I think that year ended up being about 12% bigger than this year. But what was interesting, so that was our first year we ever vended at USDGC. And there's a few factors into this. Vending was smaller all around that year, in 2023. Like there was less vendors to shop from. We were next to Discraft, which we were again this year back then. I'm trying to think. That was also the year we dropped some Yuli Brody collab stuff. So there was a few factors. I think one being it was our first time we ever vended at USDGC. The Yuli Brody collab stuff in the heat kind of Yuli and Brody. That was when they first started Tour Life. And then I think there being less vendors, less choices also aided in that, because I was actually surprised to see it was higher. The second year we went, which was last year, we saw a reduction of, let me do some quick maths for you here. We saw a reduction of about 52% year over year down. Things that played into that. One, I think the discs we brought were worse last year. Just in general, I don't think we had as good of discs and drops there. Our location within the vending village was a little worse, and I do think it was worse attended last year than 2 years ago. So going into this year, we didn't really know what to expect. We knew we were more confident in the discs we were bringing. We were more confident in what we knew of our audience. But then we basically saw it 2x from last year to this year. And what is the culprit behind that? You know, yes, we brought better discs. There were more vendors, though. I genuinely just think there was more people. I mean, last year was the hurricane year. And so some of the surrounding areas were, it hit a few weeks before USDGC. USDGC itself had to pump a bunch of water off the course and stuff like that. So I think it was just the attendance was down to a certain extent last year for reasons outside of disc golf's control. We didn't have that this year. The weather was awesome this year. And I think that we did a better job marketing ourselves being there this year. And marketing, like, these are the discs we're going to have this year. And so we were able to hit without, you know, pro collabs. We had our Ezra stamped stuff, but we didn't drop like an Ezra specific USDGC thing. We were able to come, like I said, within 10% of that first year. And I think it was a bigger crowd because this is also a much more competitive vending village now, because the vendor village, there had to be 100+ vendors there. It was freaking awesome. I mean, it was a disc golf fan's dream to be down there. It was incredible. So yeah, now I also thought y'all might find interesting, I'll run you through kind of our top sellers across the week. So overall best selling category, was discs, obviously, but our number one best-selling item, quote unquote, was technically apparel. A little bit cheap because we had personality jerseys, we had personality jerseys, we had new hoodies, which I'll actually grab one of the new hoodies right over here. We reran the college hoodie from back in the day and ran it on my favorite hoodie. These will also be hitting the site on Black Friday. So this is on a little bit thinner of a hoodie than it was the first time we ran it. And like I said, this is my all-time favorite hoodie. I hunted it down and got us to run that on there. So that was one of the items. That was really popular, especially the last day. It was a little colder, a little chance of rain. So that was really popular. Hunter Birds were actually our most popular disc, were the Proto Glow Hunter Birds. So very excited with how these performed. That was our next most popular disc. The next most popular item is a little bit cheap because it was foundation stamped. But what that means is any foundation stamped disc. So all those combined sold a little bit worse for less than the Hunter Bird. But that's a little bit cheating because, like I said, there's a bunch of different variants in that. Because we had like these, we stamped the modern stamp on Innova. I don't have the Build Your Game stamps, but those were really popular too. So then really the next most popular disc was the Trevor Cash. And then behind that was the Connor Shaman. So the personality discs led the way. Connor Shaman got gypped a little bit because we didn't bring as many down there. Because we basically ordered all of the personality discs. We ordered, okay, we have USDGC, we have Tour Championship, we have Black Friday. Let's place one massive order to try to accomplish having it at all three. And then we divvied it up among what we thought we were going to need. And I think because we sold out of Connor Shamans, I think on day 3. So I think the whole last day there wasn't Connor Shamans, if I'm remembering correctly. So the Connor Shaman and Trevor Cash would have been, neck and neck. And the only reason I think the Hunter Bird outsold them was because it was a new drop. The Trevor Cash and Connor Shamans were their more like classic one. Then this doesn't surprise us, might surprise you. Our next best-selling item was Gooder sunglasses. Gooder sunglasses always sell well at USDGC. And then accessories, and then Robbie C discs from USDGC, and then Ezra discs from USDGC, and I think that wraps it up. Yeah, because like I said, the foundation stamp, actually let me see if I can break out the apparel to kind of give you a real look here. So our best-selling apparel item was this hoodie that I just showed. That was our best-selling. So the hoodie though would have come in behind the Ezra discs. Oh, sorry, I have this number flipped. This was the second best-selling item. Our best-selling item were hats. We sold about twice as many hats as the hoodie. And then after we went hats, hoodies, then the next best-selling item were our personality jerseys. And then our comfort t-shirts, which those are available online, our oversized t-shirt, those are available online. And then this was a good item. We had discount apparel. So we just had a bin of like apparel for $5 for t-shirts that we've had for a long time. And that was the next best selling. So there you go. Hopefully that gives you a little insight into USDGC. It was an absolute blast being down there. So exciting to meet so many of y'all as well. That was a great time. But yeah, that was USDGC kind of breakdown. But all right, that's gonna be all of the like update type stuff. Let me answer some questions here. Some questions regarding the products. Can we purchase the hoodie? Chris asked. Black Friday, they'll be available online. If you're going to be in town for the Tour Championship / the Amateur Challenge at the Pro Tour Championship, they'll be available there. We have this one that's gray and black, or gray with white, and then we also have a brown and black one. Like I said, it's a thinner hoodie, super comfortable. Like I said, I bought a hoodie. The story behind this exact one is I bought a hoodie at a bait and tackle shop at the Outer Banks. That was this exact gray washed hoodie. And it was my freaking favorite hoodie for the last like 4 or 5 years. I wear it all the time. You've probably seen it in videos. And so we had used this apparel company for several other things. And finally I was like, I want my favorite gray hoodie with a foundation logo on it. So we got that exact hoodie. is what this gray guy is. And yeah, I'm very excited to have that. But that was that. It'll be available for Black Friday. Are we going to get, foundation / Gooder collab glasses? We've talked to them before. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but it would be awesome. Is Connor's jersey going to be available online? Yes. So that was the other unfortunate thing, is we got the jerseys in literally overnighted to us because they were done the day before USDGC. So they overnighted them to us Thursday. But the boxes that included Connor's jerseys were delayed. So they will be at Tour Championship this week. So we only were able to have mine and Trevor's jersey at USDGC. But all 3 of our jerseys, mine and Trevor's and Connor's, will be available online, I think, for Black Friday. I can't remember where we landed, if we're going to drop them before Black Friday or not. But, yes. Trevor said, Hunter, I need to know if the wizard putter in that last video you used, that was purple, was a Halloween edition one. No, it was from our sub box, our September sub box. It was just one of the test ones when we were figuring out the grooves on them, how deep we wanted the grooves. It was one of our test ones. So it didn't have a stamp on it, but yeah. LH05 says, what's the first thing I should do trying to start a disc golf business? The first thing you need to do is market research to make sure you can survive. Because there's, disc golf business is very broad. I don't know exactly what you're trying to start, but assuming it's like a retail store of some type, if you're doing it just in-person store, brick and mortar store, you got to answer the question, are there enough disc golfers around here to support my disc golf store? A good way to start with that would be, don't go full brick and mortar, go pop-up tent. So like go to tournaments and stuff like that. You won't be able to carry all the brands. Certain brands require brick and mortar stores, so on and so forth. But if you can't generate sales and momentum running tournaments and vending, there's not enough demand in your area in general. If you can make that happen, then do that for a little bit, and then eventually roll into a brick and mortar. If that's not your idea for a disc golf business, regardless, I think it comes down to like making sure you have a business plan. Don't just be like, oh, I'm going to buy discs, stamp my company's logo on them, buy a few hoodies and call it a day. You will fail with that. You have to make sure you have a niche, something you're attacking, a hole in the market. So, yeah. Should I get a pound or grip bag next? You should get an Atlas bag, restocking. I don't want to say this week, but I think it's this week. I think we got them in. But you didn't hear me from that. You didn't hear that from me, but I think we got them in. But realistically, between those two, I've never carried a pound bag. What worries me about it is the price point, but I've never met someone that bought a pound bag that was disappointed. I personally have owned grip bags, and I've personally been disappointed with a grip bag before. So you have that at least. I don't know. I think the part of the problem for me is both bags are well beyond what I personally need. So it's hard for me to understand them or like see them, and they're just bigger than what I want for where I'm at now. Back in the day, the grip bag was the obvious choice, but nowadays it's not anymore. Squatch, I think, is one of the best competitors to grip out there. So, yeah, I don't know. It really depends on what you want out of a bag. Because, I don't think grip has, you can't put, a hydro thing in it, but I think pound you can. I think pound can hold more discs / putters than grip, but that might not be what you want. Grip doesn't do the saggy diaper looking thing at the bottom like the pound and squatch bags do, since they don't have that support on the bottom. So you have that going for you. I think grip has a little bit more structure in it. I don't know. It comes a lot down to just what you want. Any Sky Bros left after USDGC? I missed the text deal. There will be some. Again, I think it'll be Black Friday. I think. Ragu said, looking to make the jump from running just a couple miles in the morning to training for 10Ks and farther. Any advice? First off, if you're running a couple miles in the morning regularly throughout the week, congratulations, you're at 10K. You can run 10K tomorrow. I think your best bet, though, is find a plan. Really, choose kind of what you're going for, whether it's looking for a 10K, half marathon, something like that. If you go with like my first half marathon plan and you stick to it, you'll be fine. Stick to it though by like, what I mean by that is keep your easy runs easy, keep your hard runs hard, and don't mix them. A tempo run should be a tempo run, an easy run should be an easy run. There's exceptions, like sure, like for instance, this morning I had an easy run. I've been sick for like a week, and this was like one of the first days where and by sick, I just had like a head cold. This is one of the first days though where my lungs felt good, I felt good, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just let myself run however I want to run. That's fine, but it's just like if that was every easy run I ever ran, I'm gonna advance a lot slower because you want your hard runs hard, you want your easy runs easy, and that's gonna really help. Your easy runs push your pace up, and your hard runs pull it from the top. You don't want to do a lot in the middle because that just kind of stagnant. But I think the key is going to be, and a training plan should do this for you. You want to slowly increase mileage because you don't want to shock your body. You don't want to go from I ran 10 miles this week to I ran 25 miles next week. You want to go 10 miles this week, 11 or 12 miles the next week, 13 miles the next week, 15 the next week. Like slowly add on as you build. For a 10K, I think you'd probably want to be running 20-ish miles a week. I think for a half marathon, you'll probably want to get a little closer to 25. For my half marathon, I'm going to hit 37, I think. And then for a marathon, you got to hit at least 40, but typically you want to hit 50-some. I've never hit 50-some. That's why I think I've struggled at every marathon I've ran. But yeah. Gary said, what are the coolest things to do in Lynchburg with a 2.5-year-old? My wife and son are looking for activities while we are there this week. First off, welcome back to town, Gary. Always great having you in town. Best of luck this weekend as well. Fun things to do. What does my son love doing? Well, first off, there's a lot of great playgrounds. There's one right up the road at the Forest Library that's really cool. My son loves going to that one. There's one at Waymaker Church that's fenced in, so your wife can sit down and there's like a little toddler area, and there's a bigger kid area, so your wife can sit down. There's a coffee shop in Waymaker Church as well, so you can go get coffee, sit, and watch your kid play. So lots of good playgrounds. There's a place called Pink Flamingo Play Cafe that you can book a time slot, and it's basically an indoor playground. Also has a coffee shop, so also like fenced in area, so a lot of age appropriate toys in there. Luca loves that. What else is there? There's about 30 minutes away, the Peaks of Otter. There's mountains there, but there's a nice paved trail around the lake that's really fun just to walk, and Luca loves looking at the fish and stuff like that. That's about 30 minutes away. Just search Peaks of Otter Lodge. It'll take you up there. It'll be a little cooler up there too. Probably be in the 40s in the morning and 50 degrees midday up there. But that's a really fun little place to go walk around. What else does Luca like doing? Amazement Square downtown is a blast. I've never taken Luca there. My wife's taken Luca there. It's a little bit older than 2.5-year-old because it's a little old for Luca. It's closer to like 5-year-olds. But they still have plenty of fun activities there. So that's a fun place to go. Barnes & Noble always is a good time. Yeah. Jason showed us Connor's jersey. Super sick. Oh, there you go. All Business Brad said Amazement Square. There you go. Okay, confirmation. Bag restock is Friday. Bag restock is Friday. Friday. Jason Hines says, I'm a missionary with a ministry sharing the gospel with children. I'm running a fundraiser where every dollar donated, I make a putt. I've had low engagement so far. Any suggestion that might help? It's tough to know without seeing it why you've had low engagement. I don't know what platform you're doing it on. I don't know much about it. If I were to attack that, how I would do it is I would hype up a singular live stream. And so I would basically try to find like sponsors that will help me promote the live stream and be like, hey, if you donate to it, then I'll promote you on the live stream, blah, blah, blah. And I would just set a date like a month out and be like, on November 15th, I'm going to be making a putt for every dollar donated or whatever it is. And I'm going to be, or you can even just say, I'm going to be live for 12 hours or 24 hours. And during the live stream, I have to make a putt for every super chat or dollar donated or something like that. That's kind of how we've done stuff like charity events. And I think that's kind of went well. 'Cause I think it's easy to kind of draw a bunch of attention to one singular thing than like, okay, we had 5, because the other route you can go is every day do the amount of putts. So like, okay, we've had $5 donated so far, so today I got to make 5 putts. If you want to make me make more, here's a link to donate. And that's one post. And then the next day do it again, and the next day do it again. And then hopefully eventually, you have one that gets some traffic and, you're like, oh, I have to make 1,000 putts today. But yeah. This is an interesting question. Josh Fleming Golf said, what are your thoughts on the pros and cons of getting custom fitted for discs? So we've actually talked about this because it's something you could do as a local shop, and I think there is a market for it. It's a lot different than golf, right? Because in golf, there are so many different aspects, from the grip, the shaft, the length, the shaft stiffness, even the club face, whether it's blades, whether I don't know a ton about golf, but I know enough to understand that, like, hey, this is a Thunderbird, right? I can adjust like a little bit flippier Thunderbird, so like a Valkyrie or something. I can adjust. Oh, you don't like the hand feel? Like there is aspects to it, but I can at the end of the day change this to customize it to you. So it's a little bit different in that aspect, because it's not like, oh, what you need is a Thunderbird with a little bit more depth, and I can just go adjust that. Instead, I have to go find you another disc. But we've talked about it before. There is a market where we could do a basically like bag fitting day, and just we're gonna bring discs from every manufacturer out to a field that you can throw, and for X amount of dollars you're gonna walk away with personalized recommendation and like 10 discs, right? The price point is the tough part, because you'd have to figure out the value of your advice in there alongside the discs. It can't just be the discs, or it has to be a big enough amount of discs that it covers both. But I definitely think there is a market for it. I do think there are certain people that like just they have enough money that they want to buy a full bag of discs right now, and basically just you tell me what to throw. I just don't know if the market's big enough for it to be a consistent thing. I think it would be a fun like 1 or 2 event type thing, but it is worth it if you want to pay for it. From the aspect more, it's about your knowledge of disc flight is what you'll learn during that, because like I have the advantage of I have thrown 80% of the disc golf market. I've thrown the disc at least once, right? So like I know how discs fly. I know what worked for me, and so on and so forth. But that's not always been the case. When I first got into disc golf, I had to learn what I liked, what I didn't like. I had to just watch people tell me, oh, you should try X, Y, or Z disc, and I just had to go buy it and throw it. And there's a chance when I buy it and throw it that disc sucks for me. And so it's advantageous in that standpoint, where like if you're like, I throw 350, I'd be like, okay, let's try this Thunderbird for your straight to overstable, and you throw it and it's not working for you. It's dumping early. I'm like, interesting. Okay, so let's go a little bit flippier. Let's try out the Beast and see how that works for you. Or let's try the Thunderbird in a Star Plastic and see if that works better for you. And then all of a sudden, that's the one that's working for you, and then we can kind of go from there. Like there is advantages to it, but yeah, I don't know. It's not something big in disc golf yet. I definitely could see it becoming a thing. Chuck Cole, do I know if I'll be at the Supreme Flight tournament next year? Most likely not. It falls into a tough part of my schedule. We have that first quarter of the year, we have the Eagles Wings Conference, we have the Eagles Wings Conference, and then immediately the week after that, we have the Disc East Expo, and then a month and a half or so later, we have our Disc South Expo we're going to, and we typically go to Dallas somewhere in the first quarter to film with Brody. And then we are trying, I think, in the first quarter to also do a little bit of a bigger video shoot as well, if I remember correctly. So the first quarter, I don't think we're going to be ending up at any pro tours. Travis said, "Hey, Hunter, coming down to play in the Championship AM tournament this week. Coming all the way from Canada. Let's go. That's awesome. Any must-play courses besides the one in the tournament, and what's the place for a good bite to eat?" Okay. Most play courses besides the one in the tournament. I don't know what division you're in, but I think that the tournament is using a lot of good courses. So I'm going to just give you kind of my, like, if I were here and you're trying to just have a good time. If you're not playing New London, try to get to New London. If you're not playing in the tournament, I would try to get to that one just because it's the experience. I would try to get to Falling Creek Park out in Bedford. That one's a blast. Timbrook Park is a shorter one, a lot of fun. Peaksview Park's not being used in the tournament, but it's a really fun pitch and putt. Falling Creek, we're actually having a charity event at. So Thursday night, if you're going to be in town Thursday, you can register for the Flex Start. It's to raise money for the Isaiah 117 house. You can play 9 holes of either regular golf or glow out at Falling Creek Park. So just search Isaiah 117 house. Isaiah 117 house disc golf tournament. I forget what it's technically called, but Isaiah 117 house disc golf should bring it up on Disc Golf Scene, so you can check that out. Sandusky Park is another one. So it really depends on what you're looking for, but yeah. Chris Hahn said, "I'm living in Massachusetts, wondering if you think Virginia is worth the drive for a quote-unquote disc golf vacation. I went to visit the retail store and all the courses around the area." So if you're a Foundation fan, I think yes. Mainly because you'll get to play all the courses you see on video, and that's something where, like, when I go for a disc golf vacation, quote-unquote, that's what I want to do. I want to go see and play courses that I've seen on the Pro Tour or I've seen content creators play at, right? Like when we went to Colorado, that was a lot of fun. But the other thing, if you're just like, I want to play some freaking awesome courses, well, if you drive to Virginia, what you can do is we have some great courses here. Obviously, New London's phenomenal. Falling Creek or Independence, I think, would be up there too. So you could play 1 or 2 here. You can drive an hour outside of here and go play Mayflower Hills. That's an awesome course. You can drive an hour the other direction and play Walnut Creek Park. That's an awesome course. You can drive a little over 2 hours away, play some good courses in Richmond, and also be at Lake Marshall. So if it's more like I want to come spend like 2 or 3 nights and just be willing to drive an hour or 2 each day, then you can play like probably 1, 2, 3, I would say like 5 really good courses within like a 2-hour radius. But if it's just, I'm a diehard Foundation fan, I want to come spend 2 or 3 nights and play all the courses in their video, then yeah, I think Lynchburg's a great spot. Lynchburg/Bedford County. Because we've got the championship level disc golf, we've got the fun pitch and putts, and you'll recognize all the different courses, which I think that instantly makes a course more fun. When you're like, oh shoot, like this is how short this hole is. I can't believe that. So all right, let's see here. Let me try to get a little bit more current. Okay, so this is back to the disc golf store. What's the best way to get discs from the company / get in contact? Most companies, you'll have to set up a wholesale account with them. Most companies have a like wholesale intake form. It's been like 7 years since I've done this, so I don't exactly know the best way. But if you go to their website and search like Innova Disc Wholesale or Discraft Wholesale, you should find an email that you can reach out to and say like, hey, I'm starting a disc golf shop. I'd like to get the thing. Yeah. All right. We're going to do like 2 we're going to go like 2 more questions and we're going to wrap it up. So Disc Seeker said, when is Impostor coming out? Looking forward to watching it. And how was the cast of this season picked? So Impostor is coming out a week from Thursday, next Thursday. Instagram, hopefully y'all can still hear me. YouTube is, or Instagram, wow. Impostor is coming out a week from Thursday, so next Thursday. Super excited for it. I'm about to watch episode 2 as soon as I get off of this. But how was the cast of the season picked? We picked some creators we wanted to work with, and then we put out an application process, like casting call, and chose the rest from there. So yeah, that was how it went down, how we picked our cast. Ended up being great. Very excited for y'all to see this one. All right, final question. Up and Down Disc Golf said, I've heard it discussed that USDGC sets trends for other tournaments. After attending, what's an area they could improve or innovate to set a new trend? This is a really good question, because I've always said USDGC sets the standard, especially for American tournaments. I think so. Some things that USDGC does well that other tournaments should take note of. One, they put the vendor village and fan experience in between where you park and where you're trying to get to. So there's no chance you show up to a tournament and just walk to the course and never see what's going on, all that's there to offer. There's a few tournaments I've been to that is the case. You park here, hole 1 or whatever's here, and then the vending village and all the cool stuff's over here. And there are people that are just there for, I want to just go watch disc golf. I don't want to go in the vendor village. I don't want to play a spectator course. But like, you're putting all the time, energy, and effort into providing that stuff for the fans, for the fan experience. So make sure the flow has them see it. Even if that means you might have to reflow the course, even if that means you might have to reflow where vending village and fan experience is. The other thing that I think USDGC does really well is they make there enough stuff to do that if you're there all day, you're never bored, right? Because if you just show up with your buddies to a normal disc golf tournament and it's like FPO lead card goes off at 9:20 or 9:30, MPO goes off at 3 o'clock, FPO's done at 12, we go get some food. It's now 12:45. There's no one we really want to watch. We got like 2.5 hours until MPO lead card goes off, right? What USDGC does really well is the FPO goes off, right? I watch it first thing. It loops to the vendor village food truck fan experience thing on 1 through 7, on 8 through 14, and then basically 15 through 18. All bring you back. So I think that is a really, not every course can do that. I understand that, but that's one thing it does really well. But the secondary thing is, okay, when I go to get the food trucks, boom, there's places for me to eat under a big tent. The tent's gotten bigger and bigger over the years that has coverage on. If there's no coverage actively on, it's playing old Jomez footage, which I think is a great thing. Then right next to it, there is the putting course. Right next to that, there's the Ace Place course. A little bit farther away, there's a spectator course. And then you have the vendor village. So it's like, okay, it's 12 o'clock. We just sat down. We ate our food. It's 12:45. We got 2.5 hours until MPO lead card goes off. Typically, at a lot of tournaments, that's dead time. So it becomes boring. It's either, well, let's leave and come back. Maybe tomorrow we won't come watch FPO. We'll just come. At USDGC, it's like, oh, let's go shop for 20, 30 minutes. Oh, I want to try the putting course. Oh, I want to try to get it. Next thing you know, it's like, crap, we got to get up the hill to go watch lead card, right? And it creates this much more like fun, not festival in the sense of like, we got to add a bunch of extra stuff that's not disc golf related, but festival in the sense of like there's stuff to do all day, every day. And I think that's really important that other places don't look at, is the fan experience on the ground is what makes USDGC so sellable, because you're not just watching disc golf. There's so much more to do. Now, what can USDGC do better? I think the music at the end of the day, they need to be, there's a few days where they sound tested it kind of in the middle of MPO lead card. I didn't like that, mainly because it made it hard to enjoy the environment if you weren't walking directly with lead card. So I think that's one thing. They do a great job on putting some good hangout areas. I think that hole 17 could use some seating. It's tough because it's right behind hole 1, but I think that finding a way that you can sit and watch and park it on hole 17, because people naturally do anyways, I think that could be good. Because right now hole 7 has a big tent where you can park and sit, but there's not many other like big park and sit type situations. And now that hole 3's tee's gone, I think it might be a good idea to have grandstands of some type on hole 18's green, because of the fact that the tournament sometimes does come down to hole 18, and right now if you try to get on that green, it's really hard to watch from there. So putting some big bleachers up there I think could work well. But I mean, they do a great job. So I'm being nitpicky there. But all right, that's gonna wrap it up this week. Appreciate each and every one of you. I know a lot of you that are watching I'm going to see this weekend at the Tour Championship and the Amateur Challenge. So stop by our booth, say what's up, pick up a new Hunter Bird, Trevor Cash, Connor Shaman, all of our new apparel, jerseys, all that fun stuff. Get your hands on it before Black Friday. Those of you who aren't coming, I'm sorry. You got to wait a month and a half. It is what it is. But appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you again next week. See you then.